In 1999, people believed the internet would change everything. They weren't wrong. But they made one critical mistake. They assumed that because a technology is revolutionary, every company involved would become wildly profitable. That assumption cost investors trillions of dollars. Today, we're watching something very similar unfold again. Artificial intelligence. A technology so powerful, so transformative, that it's being compared to the internet itself. And at the center of this conversation is billionaire investor Howard Marks. A man known not for hype, but for discipline, and for understanding market cycles better than most. His warning is simple, but extremely uncomfortable. AI may change the world, but that does not mean it will make you money. History doesn't repeat, but it rhymes. There's a phrase often repeated in investing. History doesn't repeat itself, but it rhymes. This idea is commonly associated with Mark Twain, and it perfectly describes what happens during financial bubbles. Because every bubble starts the same way. With a story. A powerful, convincing, almost undeniable story. In the late 1990s, that story was the internet. A technology that would reshape communication, commerce, and society itself. And it did. But investors didn't just believe in the future. They overestimated how profits would be distributed. They assumed every company would win. Growth would last forever. Competition wouldn't matter. And most importantly, they ignored the brutal reality of capitalism. Only a few winners survive. The rest disappear. Now fast forward to today. AI is the new story. And once again, investors are making the same assumptions. The dangerous assumption. Here's the core mistake investors make during technological revolutions. They confuse importance with profitability. Just because something is important doesn't mean it's profitable. To understand this, we need to look at a concept often discussed by Warren Buffett. Buffett once explained that even if a technology improves efficiency, it doesn't guarantee higher profits. Why? Because efficiency invites competition. Let's break that down. Imagine an industry becomes more efficient because of AI. Costs go down. Production speeds up. Sounds great, right? But here's what happens next. More companies enter the market. Prices drop. Margins shrink. And suddenly, that revolutionary advantage disappears. The benefits go to consumers, not investors. This has happened again and again throughout history. Railroads, airlines, telecommunications, all incredibly important industries, but not always great investments. The AI paradox. This brings us to a very uncomfortable idea. AI might follow the same pattern. Yes, it will transform industries. Yes, it will increase productivity. But will it generate massive profits for investors? That's far less certain. Because AI has a unique characteristic. It spreads extremely fast. Once a breakthrough happens, it doesn't stay exclusive for long. Competitors catch up. Open source models emerge. Costs start to fall. And differentiation becomes harder. This creates what we can call the AI paradox. The more powerful the technology becomes, the harder it is to maintain a competitive edge. And if you can't maintain an edge, you can't maintain high profits. Are we paying too much? Now let's talk about valuations. Because this is where things start to get risky. Today, the stock market is heavily influenced by a small group of companies often called the Magnificent Seven. These include giants like Apple, Microsoft, Nvidia, Amazon. These are exceptional businesses. High quality. Strong balance sheets. Dominant market positions. And according to Howard Marks, their valuations might actually be justified. But here's the problem. The rest of the market is behaving as if it's just as strong. The remaining 493 companies in the S&P 500 are being priced like high-growth, high-quality businesses. But most of them are not. They are what Marx calls mortal companies. Businesses that face real competition, real risks, and limited growth potential. And yet, they are being valued as if success is guaranteed. That's not investing. That's speculation. The role of interest rates. Now here's something many investors overlook. Interest rates. Right now, U.S. 10-year Treasury bonds are offering around 4.5% returns. That might not sound exciting. But it changes everything. Because for the first time in years, investors have a relatively safe alternative to stocks. This creates a critical question. Why take massive risk in overvalued equities when you can earn a decent return with far less uncertainty? This shift matters. Because when safer options become attractive, money starts flowing out of risky assets. And when that happens, bubbles begin to deflate. The psychology of bubbles. At its core, a bubble is not about technology. It's about human behavior. Greed, fear, and the fear of missing out. When people see others making money, they don't want to be left behind. So they chase momentum. They stop asking critical questions. They stop thinking independently. And that's when markets become dangerous. Howard Marks emphasizes one key principle. When others are being reckless, you must become more cautious. Not less. Because the biggest risks often feel the safest right before they collapse. What smart investors do. So what should you actually do? Marx doesn't recommend panic. He recommends prudence. That means taking some chips off the table, reducing exposure to overhyped areas, and focusing on quality. Stable businesses. Strong fundamentals. Real cash flow. Another option. Hold more cash. Wait for better opportunities. Because markets always cycle. And when the hype fades, opportunities emerge. But only for those who are prepared. AI will change the world. There's no doubt about that. But history teaches us something important. Revolutionary technologies do not guarantee revolutionary returns. The internet changed everything. But most internet companies didn't survive. And today, AI may follow the same path. The real challenge is not identifying the future. It's identifying who actually profits from it. So the next time you hear someone say, "This time is different," remember, it never is. If you want to understand markets on a deeper level, not just follow hype, subscribe. Because the biggest opportunities come from thinking differently.